Salt-sweet wind swept over the boardwalk of Crystal Cove and tugged sequins, chiffon, and false seaweed into streamer shapes. In the pre-dawn silver, the parade grounds looked like the deck of a dream ship. Half-built floats shaped like coral castles, crates stamped with the logos of costume houses, and a scatter of volunteers drinking coffee from clamshell-printed mugs. Lily Wade, head designer for this year's Mermaid parade, strode between them with a spool of turquoise thread tight in one fist, counting tasks out loud so she wouldn't forget any. Hem Selina's tail, refasten the seafoam epaulets on the marching band, check Celeste Argent's pearl harness. The last item pushed a knot of worry into Lily's throat. Celeste, a local anchorwoman and the parade's grand marshal, had insisted on wearing a tail studded with genuine saltwater pearls instead of the usual acrylic beads. Lily had argued real pearls were heavy, temperamental, and untested on the 20-foot float that would glide Celeste down Ocean Boulevard. Celeste wouldn't relent. "It's Crystal Cove," she'd said. "We sparkle for real here." Lily paused at the backstage tent set up behind the main float. Its vinyl flaps billowed like jellyfish bells. Inside, racks of costumes swayed on metal poles, sending glints of fish-scale lame into the dim. "Celeste," Lily called, "I'd like a fitting before sunrise." No answer came, only the muted ocean hush. She moved deeper, past prop tridents and boxes labelled sequins, turquoise, until her sneaker laces brushed pearls scattered across the plywood floor like spilled hail. Her gaze climbed from the pearls to the chaise at the back of the tent and froze. Celeste Argent reclined there in her finished costume, tail draped over the edge. Her silver wig sat perfectly. Her eyes did not blink. Around her ankles, the pearl harness Lily had sewn was cinched so tightly that the translucent fins bent inward. Dozens more pearls, thick and lustrous, were strung down the flukes as if someone had kept adding weight long after the design was complete. The anchorwoman's lips were violet, her chest unmoving. The spool dropped from Lily's hand. "Help!" Her voice cracked through the tent wall, startling gulls from the roofline. Volunteers rushed in, then security guards, then paramedics, who tried in vain to pump life back into the woman who had been meant to lead Crystal Cove's happiest day. When they finally covered Celeste with a thermal sheet, sun crested the horizon, sketching thin pink lines across the plastic fabric. Within an hour, the Mermaid parade became a crime scene. Fawn Detective Rafael Santos, all neat moustache and beach-scarred loafers, took Lily's statement beside the float. He listened without interrupting, only jotting in a notebook. "Weight added to the tail after you finished it," he repeated at the end. "Anyone else with easy access?" "Half the staff," Lily admitted. "Costumers share this tent." Still, someone had to know Celeste planned to rehearse alone. She liked privacy. Santos nodded toward the police camera documenting the pearls. Could the extra strands be decorative? Something she requested? Lily shook her head. "Not unless she summoned another designer behind my back between midnight and 4 a.m. That harness wasn't built for an extra pound, let alone 4. 4? Santos raised a brow. "I weighed the spool myself yesterday. Those pearls total about 4 pounds, enough to trap her legs and her diaphragm once she lay flat." He flipped the notebook shut. "We'll need your sketches, supply list, any emails between you and Ms. Argent." "You'll have them," she said. Her throat felt raw. She had chosen this career because costumes told stories of delight. Now a bodice of pearls told one of death. 2. The city council postponed the parade, but sponsors insisted the show would go on once officials cleared it. Everyone whose reputation or revenue depended on the event flooded the Boardwalk Hotel where the planning committee met that afternoon. Lily sat among them, shivering in the ballroom's overzealous air conditioning. At the podium, parade director Brooke Valencia, sleek bun, suit as coral pink as her manicure, clicked through a slideshow. We grieve Celeste, but the parade unites Crystal Cove. We will honour her by moving forward next Saturday. Questions? A forest of hands rose. Lily kept hers in her lap, watching people instead of slides. Beside the door, Mateo Cruz, lead designer for rival float company Seabright Studios, fiddled with a silver clasp at his collar. Every few seconds he glanced at Brooke, then away, like a guilty child. In the front row sat Jonah Hale, Celeste's on-air producer and rumoured fiancé. Tears pressed crystalline tracks down his sunburned cheeks, but his phone never left his fist. An icy idea struck Lily. If Celeste's pearls had indeed been swapped or added deliberately, the saboteur needed skill with costumes and a motive tangled in parade politics. She thought of Brooke's speech last month about budget overruns, of Mateo's fury when the city awarded lead costuming to Lily instead of him, of rumours Celeste planned to expose someone skimming money from the event's conservation fund during her marshal's address. Detective Santos would investigate, sure, but he was new in town, his world still limited to interview rooms and evidence lockers. Lily's world was wardrobe racks, gossip chains, and the warren of shipping crates where secrets tended to snag. If she wanted the truth before managers forced the parade back on track, risking another tragedy, she would have to dive for it herself. 3. She started with the pearls. The set she'd purchased came from Captain Harker's treasure trove, an antique shop near the pier. Harker specialised in estate jewellery. That afternoon, Lily ducked into his cramped storefront. Nets dangled from rafters, draping dusty chandeliers. Harker, leathery as driftwood, peered over half-moon glasses. "Back already, Lils? Need more? Thought you said the wait would be murder on folks." The old sailor chuckled, then coughed when Lily didn't. "Captain," she said quietly, "did anyone request additional pearls last night? Big order, paid cash?" He scratched a brine-grey beard. "Matter of fact, a gentleman came round at midnight. Wanted 4 strands like yours, but cut loose, no clasps." "Describe him." "Didn't see much. Wore a hoodie, smelled of that eucalyptus disinfectant they use at the convention centre. Paid all in 20s. Had musician's hands, calluses on the fingertips." Musician's hands. Jonah Hale played bass in a local surf rock band and rehearsed at the convention centre after broadcasts. But would he sabotage the woman he loved? Lily bought peppermint candy from Harker, thanked him, and left, mind racing. For next, she returned to the staging tent, now released by police. Yellow tape fluttered, but volunteers were allowed back to salvage costumes. Inside, Lily studied the chaise where Celeste had died. A faint abrasion marred the fabric at knee-height, rougher than the satin of her tail. Under the chaise she found a broken seashell clasp, smeared with lavender body shimmer. That shimmer wasn't in her kit. She used teal. Mateo, however, favoured lavender this season. Footsteps scraped plywood. Mateo pushed aside the flap, face pale. "I didn't know you'd be here." "I designed this tent," Lily said flatly. "I'm always here." He swallowed, gaze flicking to the chaise. "They say she suffocated." "I know what they say." Mateo crossed his arms. "Look, we compete, but I would never hurt Celeste. She was the parade's star." Lily studied him. "Where were you from midnight to 4? "In my workshop, sewing emergency banners. Ask my assistant." She noted how quickly the alibi came. Do you use lavender body shimmer on costumes? Sure, it photographs well. When did you last use that shade? Last night. He frowned. You think I think somebody did. If you're innocent, help me prove it. Who gets access to your shimmer? Anyone in the shared supply cage. He hesitated. Brooke has a key. So do float puppeteers, some interns. Brooke again. Lily pocketed the broken clasp, thanked Matteo, and stepped into salty afternoon sun. 5. She planned to visit Jonah next, but he found her first. On the boardwalk gazebo, he sat strumming a bass guitar, notes drifting like kelp in tide. His eyes were red-rimmed. I heard you're playing detective, he said as she approached. I'm looking for answers. She noticed fisherman's calluses on his fingertips. Captain Harker mentioned a late-night buyer. Hoodie, disinfectant smell, musician's hands. He exhaled a brittle laugh. I stopped by Harker's after rehearsal, yes, but I bought a vintage brooch, not pearls. It was for Celeste, engagement present. Detectives have the receipt. Then who bought the pearls? Could have been any musician. Half the town is in a band. He stared at the surf. Truth is, Celeste was scared this week. She said she'd uncovered backstage betrayal, her words. Something about financial records. She planned to talk to Brooke after the parade. Money. Lily remembered chatter about the conservation fund. The parade collected donations for reef restoration, but transfers kept stalling. Celeste, an investigative journalist before she became anchor, would dig into that. Had she found proof someone siphoned money? Enough to get her killed. 6 evening light gilded the hotel as Lily climbed to the penthouse suite Brooke used as a temporary office. She told herself she needed Brooke's blessing for any costume redesigns. Truthfully, she needed to read the woman's face. The suite's door stood ajar. Voices drifted. Brooke's low and crisp, and a man's, Detective Santos. Lily paused in the hallway. Notified us of withdrawals, Santos was saying. 50,000 missing from the reef fund. I assure you, Brooke replied, tone icy, we'll locate the paperwork. Celeste volunteered as treasurer. Perhaps the error is hers. Lily's heart kicked. Celeste had been treasurer. If funds vanished, suspicion might fall on the dead woman, shielding the true thief. Santos said, We'll subpoena everyone's banking records. In the meantime, stay available for questions. Steps approached. Lily hurried to the elevator before they emerged. The doors closed on Brooke's terse goodbye. Downstairs, Lily's phone buzzed. Image from Matteo. It showed a ledger page he'd found in the supply cage, stamped confidential, with columns of numbers red pen-circled. Spotted this behind paint tins, his text read. Looks like donation tallies. Thought you'd care. She enlarged the image. Among precise accountant handwriting ran Celeste's looping notes. Discrepancy, 649,870. Beneath, Celeste had scrawled, Confront BV after parade. BV, Brooke Valencia. The death motive sharpened. 7. But motive alone didn't prove Brooke had touched the pearls. Lily needed evidence tying her physically to the costume. She reviewed everything. Lavender shimmer on chaise. Brooke's manicure shimmered lavender under light. The harness clasp found broken. Brooke often wore shell bracelets with the same clasp style. She had a supply cage key, meaning she could borrow Matteo's shimmer, swap pearls, then slide invoices back and vanish. Yet opportunity still had to align. Brooke hosted a sponsor dinner last night until 1 a.m. Paparazzi photos placed her there. The sabotage happened likely after 1, but Celeste's body had been found at 5. Plenty time if Brooke left dinner early. Someone must have seen her. Lily needed a witness or a confession. 8. She devised a trap. The following afternoon, she convened a creative emergency meeting at the float warehouse, inviting Brooke, Matteo, Jonah, and a handful of committee heads. Under the fluorescent glow of the work floor stood a mannequin clad in a replica of Celeste's tail. Lily had restitched it with new, harmless plastic pearls, but she'd made them identical in sheen to real ones. On a table beside the mannequin rested 4 strands of the genuine pearls, arranged like a discarded necklace. A label read, "Replacement pearls, high, priceless." Attendees ringed the display, murmuring. Lily spoke. "Celeste designed this embellishment to surprise the audience. We plan to finish it in her honor." She paused. "But first we'll apply skin-safe shimmer to match her original look. The jar is open. Please be careful." She stepped back and let conversation swell. Everyone drifted closer. Lily waited, pretending to adjust stage lights, while a small UV powder ghost light she'd sprinkled over the pearls earlier lay dormant. This theatrical powder, invisible under normal bulbs, would cling to skin and fluoresce cobalt under ultraviolet. Whoever could not resist touching the pearls because they recognized their worth or needed to ensure they matched the fatal ones would carry proof. After 15 minutes, she dimmed the fluorescence and snapped on a handheld UV lamp. Gasps erupted. Blue specks lit several fingertips across the group. But one person's hands blazed electric, Brooke Valencia's. Her lavender nails shone like midnight tide pools. Brooke jerked back. "What is this?" "An old theatre trick," Lily said softly. "Invisible until the right light shows who handled the props." Brooke's gaze darted to the mannequin, the pearls, the door. "That proves nothing," she snapped. "We all touched them." Lily turned the lamp on her own fingers. Clean. Matteo's clean. Jonah's faint traces, likely incidental brush. Brooke's saturated. Detective Santos stepped from behind a set wall where Lily had invited him to observe. His badge gleamed. "Mind explaining, Ms. Valencia, why your prints appear deeply coated on pearls that were placed only an hour ago?" Brooke's poise cracked like thin ice. "This is absurd," Santos advanced. "And why your financial records show transfers into a private account last week." She tried to retreat, but staff blocked the exit. Her voice dropped to a hiss. "I kept this parade alive when donors pulled out. I deserved compensation." Lily's stomach twisted. "So you stole from the conservation fund and framed Celeste?" She was going to ruin everything, Brooke spat. She threatened to announce the discrepancies on air during her martial speech. "I only meant to scare her, tie extra pearls onto her tail so she'd trip and miss rehearsal." "You shackled her diaphragm," Lily said. "She suffocated." Brooke's face paled. "I didn't know. It was supposed to be symbolic weight, not—" Santos clicked handcuffs. "You'll tell the rest downtown." 9. 2 weeks later, sun glittered over Crystal Cove as the postponed Mermaid parade surged down Ocean Boulevard. Crowds cheered. Bubble machines pumped iridescent orbs skyward. At the forefront glided a float draped in aquamarine gauze, bearing a framed portrait of Celeste Argent wreathed in lilies. Behind it marched Lily Wade's crew in Sea Star helmets. Lily walked beside the float. She'd redesigned every tail, trading fake pearls for shimmering recycled glass beads that weighed almost nothing, yet refracted light into rainbows. The effect dazzled. As they passed the grandstand, Detective Santos saluted her from the VIP section. Jonah Hale played bass on a passing barge, surveying the crowd with bitter-sweet pride. Matteo cruised a coral reef bicycle contraption, scattering biodegradable glitter. Crystal Cove sparkled for real. Yes, Lily thought, but sparkle could be deadly or radiant depending on the hand that placed it. She tightened her grip on a ribbon trailing from the float. Her craft had solved a murder, saved a legacy, and reminded a seaside town that the prettiest stories still needed stitching with truth. 10. After the parade, Lily returned to her studio above a surf wax shop. Evening sun bronzed bolts of fabric. She pinned Celeste's original design sketch to the corkboard, then laid new muslin over it. Outside, gulls circled, as if waiting for the next story. Lily threaded a needle and began sewing, each stitch small but resolute, binding fabric, memory, and justice into something no tide could wash away. Approximately 1,170 words,